Hi, I'm Starla Sampaco. Today I spoke with members of Disorientation, an RSO here on campus that holds radical history tours for students here on campus every fall during Dog Days. They put on an abridged version of their tour for us here at the Daily, so let's check it out. Every year, prospective UW students and their parents visit Seattle to familiarize themselves with the U District and learn a bit about campus culture. During orientation, campus tour guides speak about the opportunities provided by the university. However, Disorientation provides a very different look at our campus in their radical history tours and tells the stories that incoming freshmen do not usually hear about. We began the tour in front of Denny Hall, the oldest building on campus.
Disorientation is a student-led, social justice-focused alternative to orientation. And the way the Radical History Tour plays into this is that we're trying to do a progressive introduction to events of student activism, both past and present, in the university.
When we think about regular orientations and regular university tours, not just at UW, but across the nation, why do you think there is that tendency to not include, that counter history?
I think that's a tough question. I think that our university, and part of what the tour and Disorientation critiques is our university's role and contribution to systems, to oppressive systems, to colonialism, to neoliberalism, to imperialism, structural racism. And it's hard for the university to want to incorporate that into its own orientation and its own sense of, the way that it's publicized. But that is a part of the history, and we need to celebrate the moments of resistance to those oppressive systems as well.
It's natural for the university to want to present its most positive side, vision, values, and we're not necessarily negating those things, but we're telling an alternate history, so kind of giving a more comprehensive view and full information about the ways in which the university as an institution hasn't been a perfect one. And I think that's important for any student to know and learn about, because this is also a place of learning and critical thinking.
The Quad is a popular spot during campus tours. However, Garrett Strain spoke about the Quad as a place of activism.
So students were doing a ton of picketing all across the Quad, about 500 students. Out of that window right there in the art building, students dropped a huge banner that said, "Emmert, another budget is possible." And that was kind of the whole message of the action, and that's still the message that students and workers are carrying forward to this day, that another budget, another way of running this university is possible. But we have to fight for it.
The one thing I really do like about the Radical History Tour is that it tells a lot of stories that I didn't know about. So learning about, the student movements in the 60s and how they're still relevant today, it's pretty special.
The buildings in Red Square, too, were once the settings of other less commonly told stories. Take Gerberding, for example.
Gerberding Hall is a pretty iconic place because in 1967, the Black Student Union occupied the president's conference room. There's a pretty iconic photo of one of the students scaling the wall, bringing food and supplies and a record player to Gerberding Hall. And eventually, in about 8 hours in negotiation from ACLU lawyers, Gerberding capitulated, he gave in, and decided that there would be some gains made regarding civil rights on campus. Now, it's really important that we acknowledge this because a lot of the features and resources that are available for students of color on campus came out of that period. And today we do the same dance with administration, struggling to help them keep good to their commitment to activism.
The students are activists in their own organizations, so Disorientation's a bunch of students who are really affiliated with other student groups and doing work on campus.
Students staged a rally here as the last action before they sat in the president's office to get the university to kick out Sodexo, a multinational food service company that had an egregious record of labor rights abuse. Phyllis Wise, who was the president at the time, refused to meet with students and to address labor issues on campus with Sodexo. So students staged 3 consecutive sit-ins, back to back to back. 55 students were arrested. I was arrested twice. And ultimately we got the university to drop its contract with Sodexo.
The tour ended at UW's newest building, the Intellectual House, which opened in March. As some may not know, the UW was founded on occupied Duwamish Native land. The Intellectual House is a gathering space for Native American students, staff, and faculty.
So it took over thousands of people and over 40 years of advocating to make this building a possibility. So we like to think of it as a testament to that struggle, as well as the struggle that Native communities continue to face in expressing their past with others and honoring their history.
We are just as much as part of telling the story as anyone else here. And I think sometimes students lose sight of that because they see themselves as being here for 4 years and leaving and moving on. But, you know, our presence here is very significant and potentially very impactful.
Activism is not just about complaining about your current state, it's also about reimagining the way that things could be and improvements that could happen here too. So, let's imagine a liberatory education. Let's imagine democratization of our university. Let's imagine more voices, more diversity.
It's important to note that disorientation covers a wide range of topics that were not covered in this segment, from Japanese internment to the Red Scare. The RSO will offer their radical history tours again this fall during Dog Days. Starla Sampaco, The Daily.